Welcome, it's Louise from Thrombowatch. Dr. Sharma and I would like to say thank you to everybody who's been following our podcast series, the Blood Clot Briefings. In the series, I've tried to bring my family's experience and fears as a family who's been impacted by blood clots over many years, through many generations. And Dr. Sharma brings the science and his medical expertise as a medical practitioner. What we've tried to show is that blood clots can impact anybody at any time, but there are specific risk factors that apply to different people that can increase that risk. And if you know that, then knowledge is power, right? And you can help to mitigate those risks to an extent. So risk factors are, for example, genetic, so my Factor V Leiden, that's in my family. There's lifestyle factors, such as alcohol use, whether you frequently fly, whether you're immobile in your job. All of those things need to be considered, along with your current situation. So if you are taking the contraceptive pill, HRT, if you have cancer or another medical condition, and also your socioeconomic status and your race. So all of those things play a part in how your risk factors evolve, really, and which ones are at play at certain times. And if you know that, then you can move towards prevention. Prevention is actually quite similar in a lot of those cases. Hydration is really important, movement is really important to boost your circulation, and you can seek the relevant advice that you need from medical practitioners that support you. We're going to be doing lots more in future episodes of the podcast. What I'd love is for you to join us and tell your story. It would really help other people. So we'd welcome you on, or we'd be grateful to tell your story for you, either anonymised or given your name and details, whichever way you would like to do it. But those stories are powerful. Those stories that people can relate to will save other people's lives, potentially. So really important. If you have a story, please share it. We'd love to hear from you. I'd also like you to tell us where you would like us to go next with future series. What would you like us to delve more into around blood clots? Any questions that you've had? Anything that we're doing in these podcasts that's annoying and you would like to do differently? Just tell us. We're doing this for the benefit of people who watch. So if there's something that we can do to make it better for you, please let us know. We'd really love to hear from you. Otherwise, stay safe, stay moving, keep those blood clots at bay. Thanks.
My grandma was 53 years old and she died of a stroke. And what everybody said at the time was, it's just one of those things. It's sad, it's one of those things. If you go fast forward 30 years, my dad developed blood clots in his knee. And at first nobody recognised it was a blood clot and they thought it was arthritis.
Okay.
And around about that time too, I was in my mid-30s and I was very keen to start a family. And I found that I was having recurrent miscarriages. And what they said to me was, it's just one of those things, Louise. There's no reason for it. It's just one of those things. Just go home and try again. And this went on for a little while. Every time I got pregnant, at about 10 weeks, I would lose the baby. It was obviously hugely difficult time, very sad. And it had a huge impact on me at the time. And eventually we decided to try for IVF because I was heading towards 40. It was getting quite desperate. So I went for IVF. And one of the questions that I had in my IVF workup was, anybody in the family have blood clots?
Okay.
And I said, oh yeah, my dad has had lots of blood clots, yes. We'll do an extra test. That'll be an extra £500, please. It was private. So I happily paid that for this test. Didn't really think any more of it. I was really excited to be starting the IVF journey. Remember, this is the late 2005, 6, 7 sort of time. I was really excited, waiting for the call for my IVF, and I got a call to go back and see them. And what they said was, we have found that you have Factor V Leiden, which I'd never heard. You can talk about this better than I can, but it's effectively, as I understood it, a faulty gene that means that my blood is more prone to clotting. And so what they said was, you can't have IVF because we can't give you the hormone therapy that would be needed.
So when someone experiences a stroke, as I said, your blood is devoid from going into the brain tissues. So the different part of your brain respond to different functions, right? When you're speaking, it's somewhere else. When you're eating, it's somewhere else. When you're swallowing, it's somewhere else, right? So what happens is if you've got a massive clot or a massive bleed in your brain, it divides that particular area to do its function. So now I'll give you a very simple yet tricky example. Most of the people write with their right hand. Which part of their brain is more active?
So I think I know this, and I think it's the opposite side. So I
Yes.
think it would be the left side.
Excellent. So our brain has two basic hemispheres, as we call. So you've got the right and the left brain. Yes, again, job distribution is there, but there's a crossing over of the nerve fibers. So for instance, if someone is right hand dominated, their left brain is more dominated, and the goes the other way around. So what happens is, for instance, now someone had a massive clot in their one of their arteries, which you call as middle cerebral artery. So again, your brain has three basic big artery groups: the anterior, the middle, and the posterior arteries. Okay. Most common site is usually the middle side. Okay.
Okay.
So now you've got a massive clot in your middle cerebral artery. What happens is the areas which are working day and night to make you work go off suddenly. So it's like, in a simple way, if you may say, it's a power failure. Okay. And that responds in a way that suddenly you lose power on your right side. The bigger the area which is getting devoid, the more the symptoms. Many people have clots in very proximal, very, not proximal, very distant form of the blood vessels, as in they're going and supplying the superficial areas in your brain. Suddenly, once you've got a blood clot in there, you have a heart attack. Okay. And the cocaine caused that heart attack. So, see the chain of the domino effect, the ripple effect here, isn't it? You went to a party, you had too much booze, you had illicit drugs, you drove long, and now you're unwell. You have a clot in your heart, clot in your lungs, clot in your legs, especially if we talk about in this case specifically. So, this gentleman might have clot in their lungs. Yes, precipitating factors: long driving, dehydration, illicit drugs. Is it potentially life threatening? Yes, it is. Could it have been prevented? Yes, it could have. So, whatever you're doing, you always have to take care of the amounts that you're doing it in. We always say medications, if you do at a higher dose, it causes an overdose. Similarly, these things in life, if you do excessively, they also cause potential harmful effects.
Thinking about if somebody is going for an appointment to talk about going on the pill, would it be worth them asking about their family history before they go in? Has anybody in our family ever had a thrombosis? Anybody in our family ever had a DVT? Anybody had a blood clot? Would that be a sensible question to ask in the family?
Absolutely. So, as I said, the reason I was emphasizing for you guys to go to a proper medical practitioner who knows what they're doing is because usually, if we start someone on any sort of medication, we do ask a couple of questions. This does include: did anyone in your family had a blood clot disorder? Whether you, at any point of your life, had a blood clot disorder? Because once we've made sure that there is no risk factor, we can make a thinking what sort of contraception they can be advised. But yeah, that's why I don't advise anyone to go and directly buy it over the counter or by any falsified means. The genetic predisposition is just a risk factor. What are the other risk factors that we've talked about? Again, lifestyle. That's the first and foremost. The way we eat, the way we drink, the way we smoke, everything essentially plays a lifestyle factor, isn't it?
I think also some of the socio-economic effects as well might come into play there. So people who are from more deprived backgrounds maybe have been brought up with less health education and less nutrition and things like that. So maybe that is also common factor in this. And I'm way out of my comfort zone here, as you might be able to tell. But I think it's really important that we understand who are the types of people who could be affected so that we don't miss anybody out. So I now understand that somebody who is not white is less likely to have Factor V Leiden. That doesn't mean that they're not likely to have a clot. And so we need to make sure that they are being examined, treated and screened in case it is a clot, rather than somebody thinking you can't have a clot because you're not of European descent.
We see many of the people who've gone into long haul flights to a good destination end up getting clots in their legs, which is very common.
So some of the things that I've learnt to do is that I will always wear flight socks.
Yeah.
And you can always see me sitting in the departure lounge, putting my ugly, tight, uncomfortable flight socks on. And you keep me right here, the compression of the tightness of those socks increases the circulation, increases the blood flow.
Yeah.
So I always wear them, and you can just buy them in WH Smith's or wherever in the airport. Not expensive. You can keep them for the next flight. Horrible to wear, but important. So I always wear them. I always take extra blood thinner. So I guess everybody's different here and they need to take their own advice for their medication. But I always take extra aspirin when I'm about to go on a flight. I'm really conscious of the water that I'm drinking for entirely other reasons. So I'm then going to be going to the loo a lot. So make sure you get something comfortable for your feet because you don't want to go bare feet. And the lessons I've learned from drinking a lot of water on the plane, I definitely won't touch the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Just isn't worth it for me.
In their specific conditions, like pregnant women are also at risk of developing clots because your body's viscosity, the blood's viscosity changes. People who've got cancer, they've got hypercoagulable state, as in the body has a tendency to form more clots. People who've just had major surgeries, who've just stepped down from critical care units, who had burns in the recent time, these all people have the highest risk. Of course, people who have genetic predisposition like the Factor V, who've got antiphospholipid syndromes, protein C, protein S deficiencies, all of these people who have additional risk factor, you should be a little more cautious. So stay healthy, stay focused. Thank you.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice. The opinions expressed are the personal views of the Thrombowatch team. If you think you may have developed a new blood clot, please speak to your healthcare provider urgently. Health-related information on this podcast, including text, graphics, images, and other material, is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or any other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. If you believe you're experiencing a medical emergency, call 999 in the UK. For less urgent assistance, call 111.